Hey guys, Geoff here, just going to give you the lowdown. So tonight you're going to join me. We're going to talk about solar generators. And I kind of became intrigued with these about a year or two ago and just started to price them out. And I was absolutely floored about how expensive they were. And I thought that there had to be a better way. I consider myself to be handy. So I thought, you know what, I could give myself just a little bit of education and I could learn how to do this. And the result of that is what you see here. So I've started to create these and build them really just for myself and friends, and using it in our camping and our RV environment. And I've been really pleased with what I have been able to learn. And so we're going to kind of show you this as the end result of that. And then you can see here I've got all the components ready to build number two right here on the table. So just walk with me for just a second, and let's just say, so really, why do you need a solar generator? Well, ultimately, if you've ever been in a blackout situation, power's out due to a natural disaster, or for whatever reason, having the ability to run your essentials is key. And what would you consider your essentials to be? Probably refrigerator, lights, possibly fans and things to keep you comfortable. But most importantly, your refrigerator and lights, so you can do and take care of things, and you don't want spoilage and all of that. So really, with that in mind, you can build your system based on what your ultimate goals are. And getting to that point is really up to you and how much you want to put into this. And so really the first thing that you'll notice about this is that it's in a toolbox. So I basically converted a toolbox into the storage for this, and it is on wheels. You might be able to see that over here. So I've got this on actually wheels, and it's a cart, and everything that you need to run. And this one will run up to 2,000 watts. So this will do up to 2,000 watts, which would easily run your freezer if you had a standalone freezer, fridge. It's definitely going to be able to run all of your lighting. You can backfeed this into your panel, and I'll do another tutorial to show you how to do that. But at minimum, you can take this on a camping trip and run everything that you want to run in your RV, with the exception of probably your air conditioner and a heat strip type heater, but it will definitely run a propane furnace or a natural gas type furnace. It'll definitely do that. So let me just kind of take it off and show you. Now I put this here. This is my choice for if you're going to charge this, not through charging it by a solar panel. I've got this wired so I can charge it using my normal electricity while you have it. And this is my choice. I love this because I have a variety of batteries. I've got the old style lead acid batteries. I've got some of the AGM batteries. I have lithium, and also the LiFePO4. This very simply allows me to change, just by clicking a button, it's going to allow me to change all and select whatever it is I'm charging. In this case, I would be using it to charge up this LiFePO4. And I have in here a very quick connect that, and I'm going to break this open because you're going to get to see what's in working. But I have this as an SAE connection that I can connect either to my solar panel array through my charge controller here, or that, as you saw, plug-in style charger, and that's going to charge up the battery. Now the battery, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to lift this up. The battery's down there. Can you see that? Yeah, so there's that lifetime. That's a 230 amp hour 12 volt battery. That one I've got tagged here in this video, so you can check out that. An absolute amazing battery. You won't regret that one. It has all the right specs. The 230 amp hour means that you can just run things for a long time on that. But I can charge it either way with that plug-in using this SAE connector, and that can also plug into my charge controller, my Renergy charge controller. And I'm going to show you really how I accomplish that. Now, with the battery charged, I now have to get power from the battery and convert it into usable electricity. Most of the components that you have components around you, the house that you have, are going to be 110. And to get stored battery power, that's usually 12 volt. So you have to have an inverter. And I've got this Renewable 2000 watt. This is a sine wave inverter, which basically means, if you were to look this up, this is the type of inverter that will not create interference with very sensitive electronics that create some of that feedback through the humming and the buzzing and all of that. So the pure sine wave inverter will convert that 12 volt power into usable 110 electricity, and that's the key part. So you really have to have, at minimum, if you want to have an off the grid kind of generator, you have to have a battery and you have to have an inverter. And those two components by themselves, if you're able to charge that battery, whether you do it through solar or you do it through your power when you have power, those two components will help you take and run things off the grid and do it. But to be off the grid, right, you shouldn't have to require the 110, the power through your battery charger. That's where the solar panels come into play. So anyway, what I've got here is the second component of this, which just is a nicety. This component actually, and you can probably zoom in on that, that's actually a monitor. And this monitor, this thing, when I first started, this was the little piece of the puzzle that I didn't even know I really needed until I needed it. And I figured it out. What this thing will tell you in a very quick, just a visual, you can see that it's going to show you, this is a graphical representation of your battery. You can see that it's all black, showing that it's full. As you drain that, it actually goes from black down here to white. It's showing out of the 230 amp hours that this battery is capable of holding, it has 222 amp hours, which puts it at 97% capacity. And really, since I have nothing drawing on it right now, it's showing that I have 99.9 basically, or 99.59 seconds stored in that. Well, really, it just because it doesn't roll over to 100 is what it doesn't do. So it would sit like this for 100 hours. And it's showing you that it's currently reading at 13.3 volts. Now, just by clicking this inverter on, watch what happens. I'm going to click it on. You're going to hear it click on. And then you're going to see inside of here, you're going to see numbers start to change. Go ahead and zoom in on that. You can see already and this is an important tip. A lot of people don't understand this, but your inverter, just powering up your inverter, that actually is drawing electricity, even though I haven't plugged anything into it. So this is a very important step, is that make sure, if you're trying to preserve your power, make sure you leave your inverter off when you're not using it. So if you go to bed at night and you're not going to be running the fan, or you're not going to be doing anything, shut it off. Obviously, if you need to run the refrigerator, it's going to run. But just that alone, you can see it. Maybe a small amount, but I'm drawing almost 8 watts just having that on. And eventually you'll start to see this number change, because that will eventually drain your battery. But just for demonstrative purposes, I hooked up this fan, and this is an old garage fan that I keep around to keep the garage cool. But I'm going to turn this on, and I've got this plugged into our inverter, and you can see now watch the numbers. You can see that that's now gone up to 54 watts, and then all of a sudden, no longer it's sitting at 90 hours, it's dropping, and it's showing you have to give it a second to kind of settle in on where it's thinking this thing is going with the power consumption. But already you're seeing that if I just wanted to run this fan at this speed, I'm already dropping down in the 50-hour range. And it'll probably drop just a little bit more, not much more, but it's going to stay in that range, and that's just by having this fan on high. You can change it, and once it's down to low, you can see it all adjusts. So you can really see how important this battery monitor is, because it really gives you a visual as to how much juice you really have left on board. And that makes that a very, very important part. It's not necessary. You don't have to have it to make things work, but it does give you peace of mind to know, okay, and you can see I dropped this fan down to way low, and then all of a sudden the battery went back up. It's showing almost 85 hours I could run this fan on that. So, you need to know this if you're going to try to run the things, and how much time you have left in that battery before you need to worry about recharging it. So that's kind of an important part of that. I'm doing this inside tonight, and so doing it inside means that I can't really show you how this charge controller works, but it's important to understand that the charge controller, the whole function of this is to then take power you're getting from the sun, which would be your solar panels, and I'll show you a couple of my favorite ones that I have here with us tonight. You're taking the power that you're getting from the solar panels, and you're converting that into energy that then is going to go through the cables here, and then when I hook this up to the battery, that's what's providing the charge to that's what's providing the charge to float that battery to keep the electricity stored inside of it. Now there's a couple of different types, and this one is considered what they call an MPPT style, and then there's a smaller one that's called the PWM style, and the PWM versus that. So these are both Renergy products. And this is the Voyager, and it's a great charge controller, and this is the Rover, and they're just two different styles. By and large, this one is for smaller applications. Really, you wouldn't combine this with anything more than say 2 panels. So no more than 200 watts of solar panel, and this will not handle that. But it does great if you're trying to keep your battery, just like your starting battery to start your generator, or to keep your boat motors and things like that. If you're trying to keep those fully charged, this is great paired with a small array of panels, like anything less than 200 watts. It does great. And I actually have one of these on my tent trailer, where the only thing I'm worried about is keeping that battery that raises and lowers the canopy. So there are time and place for that. This guy, on the other hand, this one's expandable, and I've hooked it up personally to as many as 8 panels, so I can bring in 800 watts through this, which really then increases the time in which I'm charging the battery, and also so it's charging it faster, it's putting more juice in it in a short amount of time, and then I can also run things off of this. This actually has a direct connect. So if this little fan that I was showing running, I could actually wire that straight into that and run 100% off solar, bypassing the battery altogether. So with a system like this, you're able to really harness the power of the sun, and you really wouldn't need anything else. You don't need an inverter, and you don't need a battery if you're not worried about storing the power. So a really good option if you have a good array of panels, more than 200 watts, and really it can go up to several other panels to do that. So, by and large, a couple of things that also help this out is to have, good sets. These are quality solar extensions. So I've got these wired to the back. You can kind of see them through there. But I've got these wired back here on these gear ties. I basically created just a little gear tie that has those hooked to them. And with that, I'm able to extend my solar panels way out into the sun, 25, 30 feet out into the sun, all the while keeping my generator in the shade or under canopy, wherever I want to keep it protected and covered. And same here, I keep a heavy duty extension cord, so I'm able to run things that don't have to be right beside the solar generator. I try to keep all of that stuff on board of this my solar generator, and I use these gear ties, of course, to do that, to tie them up there. And that allows you to really spread things out and take the panels and put them in the sun and move them without having to move this whole setup. One of the things I didn't show you that I really like about this inverter is that it actually has a remote control. So you can actually put this in your trailer or wherever you want. It is something that you can mount permanently. I keep it loose so I can do whatever we want with it. But this allows me to turn that inverter on and off remotely. So I can be far away from the generator as far as this cable allows, which I believe is like 25 feet. So it allows me to do that remotely. I could be indoors in the comfy of my own tent or sleeping bag, and I want to maybe turn that coffee maker on to start brewing coffee for the morning. I can do that remotely just simply by turning that on and off. So a really cool feature of that Renewable sine wave inverter. So anyway, that's kind of the finished product. That kind of gives you an idea. I think maybe you have a sense of maybe the application that you can use this in, and go after it yourself. Because really, the generators are out there, the ones that are pre-done. There's a couple things to consider. One, they're super expensive and pricey. But this is my thought. The second I saw one, I'm like, well, if I invest that kind of money, it might be worth it. But what if a component goes down? If there's something that goes wrong with the internal workings of that, who's going to fix it? The nice thing about doing it this way and doing it my way, I can customize my system. Maybe the battery storage isn't as important. Maybe I know I'm only going to need it for a short period of time, for an afternoon or for, a short weekend camping trip. Or I know I'm only going to be running, things that draw 500 watts or less. You can really customize this to fit your needs, and most importantly, pick and choose the components. And if any of the components go out, you simply replace it without having to replace the whole thing. So in my mind, building this to do it yourself, again, a lot easier than it looks. And maybe this looks a little overwhelming to you, but to be honest, it's something, and I'll do a tutorial that kind of goes through the 1, 2, 3s of how to do it. And I'll just show you real quick tonight. I do have the components of this all ready to go. And I've got the big bin here. You can see that it's empty and ready to go. And I don't know, maybe before I do that, when you show this panel, what do you think? Show the panel?
Show the panel.
Okay, so this is my kind of go-to panel. This is a Renewable. It's kind of a briefcase style, and they call it that because it basically folds and it fits inside this really cool protective case that zips up and goes around it and protects it. And all the while, this is something that's super easy to fold up. So basically, it folds up on itself like that, and it snaps together. It has these snap closures right here, and then the handle. It's on a spring-loaded handle, and you simply hook it to this end, and you're going to use those extensions, those solar connectors, as an extension to go to that. And this 2-panel system, this is 200 watts, so technically you could get by running the smaller PWM style charge controller like the Voyager, or you could use the Rover still, because the Rover will handle that. But I pair that with this setup here, which I actually have made this. This is my own creation, and this one I've got 3 panels put together, and you can kind of see that here. And I mimicked kind of their closures, so I did the snap closures like that, and I also mimicked their little spring-loaded handle. And with that, I basically can create a 300-watt system that's expandable. So this is also a Renewable 100-watt panels, but I've got 3 of them that are riveted together. And I've taken these 2 out, and so the 300 watts with the 200 watt would give you 500 watts of power. So a really good setup. Depending on what you're going to do and how long you're going to be out, I trust me on this when I say you can't have too many solar panels if you're trying to live off the grid, because a cloudy day, you name it, whatever goes wrong, when you can generate electricity, sometimes you need to generate it fast. So that's why I always kind of make sure I have enough if space isn't an issue. So those are the panels that I would pair with this to kind of be the powerhouse generating that. Tonight, I think what I'll just show you is how to hook up this part. And again, this is the battery monitor, and it comes with this little shunt. And I made out of some copper flat bar, I made some just a piece that's going to connect this to this negative terminal, and that just goes right into this negative terminal like that. And I've got some other things to hook up into here, so might take a second. Hang on. There we go. There we go. So this part of it, having the shunt hooked on, is again key to running that battery monitor. And let's see. We might have to punt on this because I might not be 100% ready to hook this all the way up. But this shunt comes on this really cool acrylic piece that it's acrylic because it's non-conductive, and you could actually plug this in somewhere, but really the acrylic part for my application, I don't need it. So really what you need is this. That's the actual shunt, and it does require you to hook up. And for most people, this is the part that gets a little confusing, is that it's saying hook up to the battery negative side. So this goes to the battery, and that's what I've got going on here. But I guess, I don't know, are we back? I can't tell. Let's see.
Yeah, you're still.
I'm back. All right. Hey, we're back. Somehow we'll figure this out. So this part, it gets a little confusing, because normally when you're hooking things up, you think, well, I need to hook a positive and a negative, but pay close attention. This is hooking up to the battery negative side, which I'm doing here, and this is going out to your power side, not positive, but your power negative. So in other words, I'm extending, this is a shunt, it's going between what I would normally hook up as just this straight black cable, so that's my negative, right? And that's going to this negative, the power negative, okay? And that's just because you want this in between here. This is how it measures what power is going out, is through the negative terminal there. And so let's see, if I hook this up, like, I'm going to end up hooking it up like this. So I want this to go through here like this.
Can't really see you.
Yeah, so I'm hooking that up like that, and I need to put a washer and then a lock washer on that, and then we're just going to hook that there, and then this goes to the battery side terminal, negative. And let's see, there we go. I knew I measured this a little bit off, so that I might have to fix this. I wasn't counting on that being there. So anyway, but that's the idea. So you're going to hook this up to that negative, and then this part right here. And this is a pro tip from me to you. When I'm working with the business end, so this part is the part I'm going to hook up. This part temporarily is going to be flailing around loose. If I start hooking things up and then it lands on this metal case, and starts touching other things metal, I'm going to create that conductivity, which could arc and spark and do all kinds of funky stuff. So I always tape up the ends that I'm not using until I'm ready to hook them up and have them secure and safe. That's just something I do. I've just had enough things arc and spark at me that it wakes you up. Not that you get shocked off of this, but you can damage your equipment, and you can also create a fire and whatnot. So anyway, this is that battery monitor. That's the internal workings of it. It winds up on your battery here and then connects to your inverter. Now, one thing that is unique, if you don't know this, I'm going to show you. One thing that is unique is that these lithium batteries, since they're dry, there is no, since these lithium batteries are dry, there's actually no reason that you can't have these in any position. Now, trust me, if you've been around batteries, this will freak you out, because it does me. I can actually store this like this. And for most people that you're just getting into the lithium battery thing, you would just cringe to think, oh my gosh, I've got my battery on its side. All of us that have the AGM style or the liquid batteries freak out when you see that, because you know that's damaging your battery to have it on its side. I can also, if I were crazy, I could actually store it like this, upside down, which I don't know why you would, because you couldn't really access the contacts here. But whatever box you choose to build, your generator in, and I've got this Craftsman stackable here that you can look up and see, but you can actually put your battery in like this. You can see it's tall enough. That gives you a lot of room over here to maybe even do another system. So you could turn yours into a 24-volt system, or you could double the capacity with 100 amp hour batteries. You could store it like this, which is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have mine like this with that battery monitor coming off of this negative side over here. And then my inverter will then ride on top. So this will ride on top of this. And I use, and this is probably the first time my wife knows this, but I'm using her yoga mat as the...
Seriously?
Yeah. I'm using her yoga mat as the divider there to provide a little bit of cushion. But you can see how that... Sorry. So you can see how that you can see how that rides in there. Super nice. Really, there's just enough room for everything in there to do it. So anyway, I think this kind of covers more than just the basics. And I will be doing a tutorial on this where I'll build it from A to Z. I'll probably have a 3-parter that will be on my YouTube channel and stuff. So just make sure you subscribe and follow the channel. Follow the lowdown, because I'll give you some hints and clues of where you can find additional content. So please check that out. In the meantime, feel free to browse around all the products that I've shown you, because every single one of those that I've listed in there are ones that I'm either using on this build or I've used in the past. And every single one of them I would literally put my name on. I trust them a lot. And I've used the Lifetime battery is an absolute must. If you haven't played around with the lithium batteries, the Lifetime is a great reputable brand. And Renergy is, in my mind, like the one and only. I mean, I turn to Renergy first on everything, and they're phenomenal. So anyway, I hope you've gotten something out of this. Please like it, share it, and check out some of my other content. I think you'll enjoy it. If you follow me back to the lowdown, you'll see tons and tons of reviews just like this, as honest and accurate as I can possibly be on a variety of things, ranging from solar, electronics, automotive, you name it. So anything I feel like I have something to say. So again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time on the lowdown.
So one was watching the whole time.